flashes of pleasure that leaped into her eyes. She attempted no concealment. Whatever her emotions were, they revealed themselves unaffectedly, and with a simple freedom from embarrassment that swept him with an almost reverential worship. And what he had just said pleased her. Unreservedly her glowing eyes and her partly smiling lips told him that, and she said, "I am glad you feel that way, Jeems. And I think you would find it in time because," her little trick of looking at him so steadily, as if there was something inside him which she was trying to see more clearly, made him feel more helplessly than ever her slave. It was as if, in those moments, she forgot that he was of flesh and blood, and was looking into his heart to see what was there before she gave voice to things. And then she said, still twisting her braid between her slim fingers, "You would find it, perhaps, because you are one who would not give up easily. Shall I tell you why I came to see you at Dr. Cardigan's? It was curiosity, at first, largely that. Just why or how I was interested in the man you freed is one of the things I cannot tell you. And I cannot tell you why I came to the Landing. Nor can I say a word about Kedsty. It may be, some day, that you will know. And then you will not like me. For nearly 4 years before I saw you that day I had been in a desolation. It was a terrible place. I ate my heart and soul out with its ugliness, its loneliness, its emptiness. A little while longer and I would have died. Then the thing happened that brought me away. Can you guess what it was?" He shook his head. "No." "To all the others it was a beautiful place, Montreal." "You were at school there?" he guessed. "Yes, the Villa Maria. I wasn't quite 16 then. They were kind. I think they liked me. But each night I prayed one prayer. You know what the 3 rivers are to us, to the people of the North. The Athabasca is grandmother, the Slave is mother, the Mackenzie is daughter, and over them watches always the goddess Niska, the Gray Goose. And my prayer was that I might go back to them. In Montreal there were people everywhere, thousands and tens of thousands of them, so many that I was lonely and heartsick and wanted to get away. For the Gray Goose blood is in me, Jeems. I love the forests. And Niska's god doesn't live in Montreal. Her sun doesn't rise there. Her moon isn't the same there. The flowers are not hers. The winds tell different stories. The air is another air. People, when they look at you, look in another way. Away down the 3 rivers I had loved men. There I was learning to hate them. Then something happened. I came to Athabasca Landing. I went to see you because—" She clasped her 2 hands tightly in her lap. "Because, after those 4 terrible years, you were the first man I found who was playing a great, big, square game to the end. Don't ask me how I found it out. Please don't ask me anything. I am telling you all you can know, all you shall know. But I did find it out. And then I learned that you were not going to die. Kedsty told me that. And when I had talked with you I knew that you would play any game square, and I made up my mind to help you. That is why I am telling you all this, just to let you know that I have faith in you, and that you must not break that faith. You must not insist on knowing more about me. You must still play the game. I am playing mine, and you must play yours. And to play yours clean, you must go with Laselle's brigade and leave me with Kedsty. You must forget what has happened. You must forget what may happen. You cannot help me. You can only harm me. And if, some day, a long time from now, you should happen to find the Valley of Silent Men—" He waited, his heart pounding like a fist. "I may be there," she finished, in a voice so low that it was scarcely above a whisper. It seemed to him that she was looking a long way off, and it was not in his direction. And then she smiled, not at him, but in a half-hopeless little way. "I think I shall be disappointed if you don't find it," she said then, and her eyes were pure as the blue flowers from which they had stolen their color as she looked at him. "You know the great sulphur country beyond Fort Simpson, westward between the two Nahannis?" "Yes, that is where Kilbane and his patrol were lost. The Indians call it the Devil Country. Is that it?" She nodded. "They say no living thing has ever been through the sulphur country," she said. "But that is not true. I have been through it. It is beyond the sulphur country you must go to find the Valley of Silent Men, straight through that gap between the North and the South Nahanni. That is the way you must go if you should ever find it, Jeems, for otherwise you would have to come down from Dawson or go up from Skagway, and the country is so great that you would never come upon it in 1,000 years. The police will not find you there. You will always be safe. Perhaps I shall tell you more before the brigade comes. But that is all tonight. I may never tell you anything more, and you must not question me." Speechless, he had stood, all the life of his soul burning like a fire in his eyes, as he looked at her and listened to her, and now, quietly and unexcitedly, he said, "Marette, I am going to play this game as you want me to play it, because I love you. It is only honest for me to tell you in words what you must already know. And I am going to fight for you as long as there is a drop of blood in my body. If I go with Jean Laselle's brigade, will you promise me—" His voice trembled. He was repressing a mighty emotion. But not by the quiver of one of her long lashes did Marette Radisson give evidence that she had even heard his confession of love. She interrupted him before he had finished. "I can promise you nothing, no matter what you do." "Jeems, Jeems, you are not like those other men I learned to hate. You will not insist? If you do, if you are like them, yes, you may go away from here tonight and not wait for Jean Lasalle. Listen, the storm will not break for hours. If you are going to demand a price for playing the game as I want you to play it, you may go. You have my permission." She was very white. She rose from the big chair and stood before him. There was no anger in her voice or gesture, but her eyes glowed like luminous stars. There was something in them which he had not seen before, and suddenly a thought struck his heart cold as ice. With a low cry he stretched out his hands. "My God, Marette, I am not a murderer. I did not kill John Barkley." She did not answer him. "You don't believe me," he cried. "You believe that I killed Barkley, and that now, a murderer, I dare to tell you that I love you." She was trembling. It was like a little shiver running through her. For only a flash it seemed to him that he had caught a glimpse of something terrible, a thing she was hiding, a thing she was fighting as she stood there with her two little clenched hands. For in her face, in her eyes, in the beating throb of her white throat, he saw in that moment the almost hidden agony of a hurt thing. And then it was gone, even as he entreated again, pleading for her faith. "I did not kill John Barkley." "I am not thinking of that, Jeems," she said. "It is of something—" They had forgotten the storm. It was howling and beating at the windows outside. But suddenly there came a sound that rose above the monotonous tumult of it, and Marette started, as if it had sent an electric shock through her. Kent, too, turned toward the window. It was the metallic tap, tap, tapping which once before had warned them of approaching danger. And this time